all the discussion that artists are making around AI is kind of backwards. People are going like, the big companies only want this so that they can fire all their artists, just make a movie with 3 people. But it's like, think that through for a second. If they can make a movie with 3 people, so can you.
Yes.
They should be shaking in their boots, not you. You put on this headset, and the first thing that you get demoed is a sexy lady like dancing on the stage. Then your hands appear, and she's like right there, and you can like, there's other demos.
No, don't move on. What were you doing with your hands? What was the biggest creative or business failure you've ever had?
I made a video called So Much Effort Went Into This Thing that ultimately didn't change anybody's mind. I just accepted that most people would just disagree with me. So the people who are going to do really well in the new economy are the high agency people who can make a story and also believe that they can make the film or make the game. We kind of have to like train your brain back the other way and go like, no, remember that thing that you like pressed down, like that spark that got you into it? You want to make Jurassic Park? Now you can.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Bad Decisions podcast. We're in Vancouver at SIGGRAPH, and we've got an incredible guest that is coming back, returning guest. We've got Andrew Price.
Round 2.
Let's go.
Wow.
Okay, drum rolls. That was not a good drum roll. This was better.
This was better,
right?
We can put that somewhere.
Yes,
We can put that somewhere.
objectively.
Thank you so much. Dude, how has SIGGRAPH 2025 have been for you?
It's been great. Yeah.
We've been catching up like multiple times because we walk past each other as we're checking out different exhibition rooms and booths and all that.
Yeah.
How has it been?
It's been great. It's it's so much work to go to a conference, like the hotels, the flights, all the headache, and then when you actually get there, it's like, oh yeah, it's worth it.
I thought you were joking about that. It's really that's a
well,
headache.
I mean, like,
dude, it's so cool, man. It's like
No, because this is not his first SIGGRAPH.
actually
This
for
is
us,
ours.
no, but
first
the
one.
truth is, for us, it's like a 5-minute drive.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's
yeah,
probably
yeah.
why.
Yeah, that's not fair.
That's
Not
okay.
fair.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is not your first SIGGRAPH, though, right?
Correct. Yeah. I mean, this is maybe number 6 or 7 or something. Yeah.
Right. I met people who went to SIGGRAPH in 1997. It's like,
Oh yeah.
that's insane. That's when I was
Yeah.
born.
Yeah.
That's how
I know.
insane this is to
It
me.
is.
What's the coolest thing that you've seen so far?
Okay. Well, the coolest, for me, what is coolest is something that is practical. It's at the Blender booth.
I
Okay.
knew
Yeah.
it.
Bias.
Practical
I knew
or
it.
biased?
The bias.
Yeah.
Practical / biased.
Okay, but then I'll tell you the coolest like technical feat. Okay,
Right.
but the coolest thing that is practical today is DLSS in Blender.
Right.
Okay.
Do you know what DLSS is?
I would love for you to tell everyone
Okay,
because I want to
it's
make sure
gonna
everyone
be
gets it.
It's going to be in every piece of software soon. NVIDIA has created a denoiser which works on one sample.
One sample.
One sample, and it means that everything is real time. Like it's like, so at the Blender booth, you can see it, but you put it on optics, which is what we have now.
Yes.
And, optics is, it's good, but it requires, 5, 6 samples to go. And then it's kind of splotchy and it takes a little while. And then you switch it to DLSS, which is not in Blender yet. So this is a special version just at SIGGRAPH that they've got from NVIDIA. And it's instant. Like the frame rate is like, so you just throwing around the viewport, zooming around, and it's path traced, but it's real time.
So you're talking about cycles, path traced, real time.
Cycles, path trace, and immediately you go like, oh, I don't need EV anymore.
Wow.
Dude, I knew this day is going to come. Like I was looking forward to a day where you can have cycles, path tracing in real time. I haven't checked it out yet, but you're saying it's there.
Yeah, basically. I don't know how it applies to the render mode.
Right.
That will probably be coming, he said, but just the viewport for building stuff, it's incredible.
So this is, I believe, something that will come after 5.0, right?
Yes, he didn't give me, the NVIDIA guy was like, I cannot give you a date on camera.
That's what they're all saying
they
to
all
us.
say that.
Nobody
No one
gives
is
a date
giving
at
us dates.
SIGGRAPH.
Yes.
TBD.
Yeah.
But then you turn and he's like, maybe 5.1.
Okay, good.
But he can't commit to it. So there might be problems, yada, yada. But then I was talking to the Maxon guys and they're like, yeah, we're getting it too. So basically NVIDIA, because they want people to buy their graphics cards.
Yes, of course.
They have developed this thing which all the artists are going to love and they're all going to be talking about it. And then Apple and then Intel are going to be like, crap. Now we need something.
Yes.
So everyone's going to buy NVIDIA cards.
Yes.
Right.
Who doesn't have NVIDIA cards?
I think anybody
Come
works
on.
with 3D, you need to have an NVIDIA card.
I mean, Apple though, like the metal, the GPU that's
Yes.
on the those are pretty good with Blender.
Yeah.
Are they?
They're
I've never
pretty
tested them.
fast.
I've
Because
never tested
Apple
them.
because they know that how many users use Blender.
Right.
They had like a team of people that have just been working on Blender for years.
Right. Is there any limitations though with that when you're using it on the Mac?
I'm sure there's like maybe there's less memory or but from what I've seen, it's pretty fast.
I see.
It's pretty fast. It's pretty good. Yeah.
I see.
That's exciting.
Yeah. So that's Blender. That's the most practical, cool thing I've seen. And then there is volumetric video,
Okay.
which we could talk
40
about.
Gaussian splats,
40
right?
Gaussian
40
splat.
Gaussian splatting, which is crazy. And then mega geometry, which was, I guess, pretty similar to nanite, but it's basically like, seems like that might be available to more DCCs in the future besides Unreal Engine.
Mm-hmm.
Roblox coming out with basically millions of objects that can be physics for millions of objects.
What do you mean physics for? Like
So their
interactive
demo-
elements in all of the objects in the world. So destruction and all those things.
They had a demo at real-time demo yesterday, which is they just had like a world of just infinite like pyramids, like little like cubes stacked on top of each other.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're just throwing balls at it and they're all just smashing, but they go onto the horizon.
Like
And-
forever.
Wow.
And the crazy part is like most physics, it's like they have the sleep state, like the inactive state,
Yes.
where it's not interacted yet and then it's active. They said all of them are active. There's no sleeping. And it's, 60 frames a second.
Holy shit. I know exactly what you're talking about because even in Unreal, you have that. You set the state
You set it
for
up.
the physics and then it activates.
Yeah.
But you're saying everything is just waiting to be activated. It's there.
It's active. So they're all active, but they're all just stacked on top and they just throwing these balls at it. And it was crazy.
So
Everyone there was like, what's the what do we like? This to me was like the equivalent of like when Nanite and Lumen dropped. Like I haven't seen that before.
you know, when you
That's
talk
crazy.
about this and mega geometry, because that's, as you mentioned, equivalent to nanite. For anybody that doesn't know anything about both of these phrases, they essentially mean millions of polygons, meshes running in real time.
Yeah.
The only thing I can think about is Ready Player One experience, where you can have simulations of everything that we have in the real life within a 3D world. And things are running
And
in
you
real
can
time.
interact with everything
Oh,
around
that was
you,
the other
yes.
thing. The mega geometry had. They also had DLSS on top, so they
Oh,
had
God.
path tracing.
Wow.
So it was this crazy demo. You can look it up. So real time live. You can look it up on YouTube.
Right.
It's there. You can watch it freely. This like dragon that's sculpted, and then there's these rock canyons, and then they're flying around, and they're like going down to the threads on the shirt, and then they're pulling out. It's the detail is just, and it's just running at 60 frames a second on 150/90 with real time path tracing. I'm
Dude,
like, wow. Okay.
That's the thing.
crazy.
That's the thing. Because if you were to think of a world where Ready Player One would be a reality, you need to be able to run massive worlds in real time with millions of players.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if you watched the conversation between Lex Friedman and Tim Sweeney. They had like a 3-hour long conversation. One of the things that Tim Sweeney was talking about for Unreal Engine 6 is that their main passion and their main desire is to be able to have more than 100 players in the same map, more than 200 players in the same map. So they're working on making sure that the network and the software and the hardware
and the latency
and the latency can support millions of players in the same experience. So you have him working on that. You've got NVIDIA working on mega geometry. You've got DLSS. All of this stuff coupled up together, I imagine with like a Neuralink, we can one day perhaps switch into a completely different simulation, literally go inside a game. I can only see that as a possibility. Like with all of this, it's kind of clicking together. Do you guys see my point?
Yeah, of course.
Would you guys like that? Or is this something that is scaring
I'm just
you?
thinking,
Because you
where
guys
would be
don't
the-
look that excited.
No, it's very strange for me because I would think of the economy of this world. Who are the builders? Who are the players?
3D artists.
Who are the world makers? Because then you have AI generative that you can generate words beside you, and then you have different people making words. I come into yours, you go to his. It's going to be...
That's already happening in video games, right?
In Roblox,
we were talking about your son who plays Roblox, right? Isn't that what he's already doing? He's going to a different map created by somebody else. He enjoys that experience, and then he's out of that experience. He goes into another one in a different world.
Yeah.
So how would you make that more immersive? Well, exactly what we just talked about with mega geometry. I don't think VR headsets are the future. If you look 50 years ahead, I don't think everyone...
Think so? Oh,
well,
you think...
No, I think that they're going to become smaller and smaller because people don't like putting on a massive headset. So I just think the concept is going to be there, but they cannot be these giant things that you put on your head that weigh a lot and you can't really see and interact with other people. I think it's slowly just going to get smaller and smaller,
Of course,
eventually become a chip.
Would you take the chip?
Well, no one's going to be the first one. Like,
Yeah. No, but
People
if you
have
said-
already done it. I mean, the
I mean,
guys
few
who are...
people, but would you take the chip? Imagine 1 million people have already taken the chip. Would you take the chip?
Yeah, and they're like, they've got super intelligence.
Yeah.
You'd almost be like, I need it yesterday.
Oh,
there you go.
I mean,
That's
you
the
will be
thing.
I'm
left
getting
behind.
left behind.
Yeah. Imagine like Andrew sitting in front of me. He has the chip. He can speak like 20 languages.
Yeah,
He's
but I don't want to
proficient-
talk to you because I don't have the chip.
Yeah. Oh shit! Yeah, nobody will talk to you because I would be the dumbest one in the room.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you some more things that you can have because, for instance, when you get tired, we were talking about coffee, how much coffee we drink at least. When
And
you get
nicotine.
And
And
nicotine.
nicotine.
And nicotine. No,
Yeah,
fair
yeah,
enough.
yeah.
Both of them, right? What do these compounds and substances do? They send different chemicals to your brain and activate certain things that help you not feel as tired. They make you more concentrated.
Yep.
If you've been paying attention to what Elon Musk has been doing with Neuralink, with people who are disabled, helping them play video games, now playing Call of Duty, they're essentially sending in electrical signals. So when you're saying, would you take it? Imagine I'll take in the chip, I won't need coffee anymore or nicotine anymore. The chip will just send electrical signals to my brain that will make me feel less tired and feel more concentrated.
I'll take the chip. Fine.
I'm pretty sure that will happen one day.
Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty
Well,
much.
I mean, I guess the sad thing is like like what we're describing is what Hollywood has been pitching for the last 50 years,
Yeah.
but it's all dystopian, right?
Yeah, I've yet to see a utopian version of that.
No, there's
Yes.
never a utopian version. It's always dystopia.
Yes.
It's always like a warning of the future.
Yes.
Yeah.
Careful what you wish for,
Yeah.
Yes.
because you just go down this path. It's hard to imagine a world where like we're all hooked into a matrix and we're all happier. But if we weren't happier, then we probably wouldn't use it. So I have to imagine it's like what does it look like?
But let me ask you a question. Do you think if someone made a utopian version of that game would sell? Like the only reason why I think people really connected with Cyberpunk is that dystopian version of it. If everything was happy in that game, it probably wouldn't be.
It's more so like the game has a challenge or something
Yeah,
that you're
right.
pursuing.
Yeah.
That'd be the reason to play. I don't think the game would have to be necessarily depressing to make you want to play it.
Fair
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I actually think this is actually a pretty decent conversation in terms of where things can go. I think that all of us have valid points here. I do generally believe my take is we are going to go towards that route simply because US as a capitalistic country, like a lot of these companies are working for profit, right? And these engineers themselves, the guys who are building these tools, hardware and software, they don't actually have any bad intentions. They're just doing what they always desire to do. They want to give people better technologies that help them
Right.
do things faster and better.
Right.
It's just, I feel like sometimes the people who are running the companies, the boards per se, have different intentions. For them, it's mostly about profit. And sometimes that could lead us into dangerous paths. But not everyone's like that. I think it really depends. But it's exciting for me. I'm more optimistic about it. I don't think it's going to be a utopia or a dystopia. I think it's just going to be like today where we're going to have a lot of people who are good and we're going to have people who are bad. And that's just going to be perhaps magnified with the technology that is going to be available to us because we're going to become even more powerful.
Yeah.
So are you going to get like a bionic arm one day or something?
I mean, yeah. I don't know, I think about this a lot. Like probably for the last 3 years, there hasn't been a day that's gone by I haven't thought about AI. Particularly as it pertains to the art industry.
Yeah.
What's going to change? What skills are going to be valuable? Yeah, it's I don't. Yeah.
Have you get to any conclusion? Thinking, because we think a lot, and every single time a new idea comes up, a new analogy comes up. What if this happens? What if the other things happen? And we always, because of course there is always the art side, but there is also the business side of things that we always consider. So with AI, what should we focus on? What should we let go? And there are parts that we love, but we might need to let go. There are parts that we love, and I think there will still be valid in the future. When you think about all of this, and when you think about it for the past 3 years, have you gotten any conclusion for yourself? That if, for example, your son comes to you and asks you, hey, Dad, what should I do in my future? Should I learn this? Should I skip it? Should I focus on certain things? Would you have an answer for him?
Learning 3D, VFX, and animation should not take you years. That's exactly why we designed the Ultimate Unreal Engine program, which is our best work yet. This is our masterpiece, which is gonna take you step by step from beginner to pro in Unreal Engine in just 14 days. And by the end of it, you'll get to create a beautiful cinematic short film just like this. We'll take you step by step through pre-production, planning out your scenes, to setting up your environments using photorealistic assets really quickly.
We will teach you modeling, texturing, and animation.
We'll even teach you how to use metahumans to create beautiful digital characters that look real.
We will teach you AI workflows to speed up your process.
We'll teach you how to set up your lights so that your scenes look cinematic. We'll teach you how to use cameras inside Unreal Engine to set up beautiful shots, animate the cameras, not just digitally, but using virtual production techniques like using your phone to move the camera in the scene, which is super fun.
We will teach you motion design tools so you can create an amazing title sequence at the end.
We'll teach you simulations as well, like cloth, destruction, and particles. And you learn all of this in 14 days.
And for those of you who are listening to this podcast, we have a very special price. Use the code PODCAST in the link below this video, and you will get $300 off from our Ultimate Unreal Engine program.
And to make it a no-brainer for you, if you hate the course and you hate our teaching style, we'll give you your money back, because we've never had a single person say that before. You can even go to our Discord community and check with our members what they think about the course. And by the way, speaking of the Discord community, we have 24/7 support for all of our students, which means if you ever have any issues while learning, you can always contact us. We'll respond, get it solved. Even if the problem persists, you can send us your Unreal Engine files and we will fix it for you, send it back so you're never stuck. And the reason why we're so proud of this 24/7 support is because most courses don't actually offer that. So if you're learning and you get stuck, it's over and you're lost. So, Farhad,
click on the link below this video and use the code PODCAST.
PODCAST, in case you didn't know. Let's get back in.
Advice for my son. I mean, yeah, like advice for kids, it's like, you can't really teach them any specific skill or point them to really anything besides like find something that you're interested in.
Mm-hmm.
That's really it. That's the best thing that you like, and you have to hope that they have developed like high agency skills where they feel that they can problem solve and do things and want to tinker. Like that's really it. But yeah, as for like AI and like where it's gonna go, I think I've kind of flip-flopped. Because like at SIGGRAPH, I was at a talk where it was Disney Pixar, and they were talking about just Disney, and they were talking about Moana 2, and the hair and the fabric that they used, and the level of control that they had. Like they've got a slider which defines how much hair falls over her shoulder when she like leans forward or something, because she's got this bushy hair. And if you let physics run, Well, the hair is just all like she just constantly looks like this mat of hair. So it's like they have to place it in a delicate way, but it also has to feel like real hair. So as she moves and does like this, some has to fall over, but how much?
Yes.
So it's like this little bit or how many strands, right? And so they need this level, this fine level of control. And then when it blows in the wind, right? Like if it's really blowing in the wind, it's just going.
Yeah, I can
right?
imagine
it just
that.
looks
Yeah.
like, I mean, you guys know.
Right. Yeah, that's a good one. We don't have any sliders, so I can't control it. Yeah.
Real life style.
Yeah, we don't have it.
But they have like control, so it's like it makes these shapes. So they have like paint overs. So someone will go in there and they'll paint over it of how they want it, and then they'll guide it, right? All this control. And you kind of think like, well, will AI ever get there? Like, no. Well, a human would have to manipulate it. However, it doesn't need to be perfect to beat it, because the thing that AI would have an advantage over is nicheness. Have you seen Moana 2?
No.
I have not. I've seen Moana 1.
Okay. Have you seen Lilo and Stitch 2?
The trailer, yes. Not the full thing.
That doesn't count.
Yeah.
Did you see Elio?
Trailer.
Right. You see where I'm going?
Yeah.
These are big movies with $200 million budgets. None of us have seen them, right? Why didn't we see them?
Interesting point.
Right? Because they weren't for us. It's not specific to what we're interested in. Okay. And that is, I think, the difference. Like that's a big thing that's missing from the discussion. Is like there is the high end that Hollywood has operated on, which is like going to like the next level of perfection and visual, like the exact thing that'll make this shot work. But it doesn't need to be perfect to beat it, because look at what YouTube has done to TV.
Yeah.
Right.
Late night TV is now dead and it's beaten by podcasters, right? And they don't have the same setup. They don't have a studio audience. They don't have these interactive segments. They don't have lights and like a big production behind it. Why did it beat it? Because you can go and you can search for a specific podcast on the exact thing that you want, on like plants and growing and like a specific species of plants. You could probably find a podcast on just growing that. Same with YouTube. Like I think of like documentaries, right?
Yeah.
On YouTube is now better in a lot of ways to then like what is on Netflix.
I agree
It's
with
not,
that.
I
not in
completely.
production necessarily.
Storytelling.
Storytelling can be, yes, storytelling, but it's more so it's like they're able to find specific things and make a documentary on it and find an audience. Whereas like Netflix and these big BBC or whatever, they have to go for this big envelope of like, I have to capture everybody. So it's just generic and bland. So like, I don't think that that AI will ever beat the team at Disney and Pixar with the perfection of the strands of hair on the shoulder and the cloth and the every tiny detail. But it doesn't need to, because they can make a story. A YouTuber will, in the future, on YouTube, probably release a movie made with AI. Maybe it only gets 20,000 views or something like that, but it'll have cost him nothing, but it'll be right up your alley and you will love it. You know, like a story that Hollywood just won't make. Like, hey, an optimistic film about tech.
Right.
Something Hollywood
like
just
a utopia about tech. Yeah.
cannot create for whatever reason. Every version of the future has to be dystopic. Something like that. Like there's things that all of us would probably watch that's just for our niche. I don't know what yours would be, but you would probably click it and you would enjoy it if it was right up your alley. So that's kind of it. So I think, but I do think people will still crave a shared experience, right? So like part of the thrill of like the Marvel movies or Dune were these like your friends were talking about it, you wanted to relate to them, so you wanted to watch it so that you could talk about it or feel like Game of Thrones, Breaking Bad, Star Wars, right? It was like
that.
you felt like
I
you were missing out if you didn't see the thing. I think there's always going to be some of that, and maybe that high level will still exist. Or it's like they'll be so slow and there'll be such marginal amounts of revenue to be made that they'll just die. Just like late night TV. And all those artists will now go off and they'll make their own independent productions on YouTube.
Dude, isn't that what we've been talking
Yeah,
about?
yeah, yeah.
First of all, beautifully said. I loved what you just described. I think it perfectly summarizes what we've been thinking about and talking about for the past few weeks, at least, regarding this topic. We were talking about how we believe that the ones who are more in danger, I'm not saying like the highest levels of danger, but just more in danger are the massive companies with 500 people, 5,000 people, because AI can now come and do a lot of the job. Whereas I think what's interesting and perhaps exciting for people watching and ourselves as well, leaner teams, smaller teams can now have so much more freedom to tell stories. We were watching talk by Nicola from the guys who made Wonder Studio, now Flow Studio. He was talking about this concept of permissionless storytelling. And the reason why they made Flow Studio is because when they first started in Hollywood, they needed someone's permission to tell a story. Now they wanted to create something that gives artists the tools that allows us as 3 people in this very room to come and make a film that is not, let's say, like Moana in terms of the amount of detail you have, but it's so damn close that people don't really care how much hair is falling over the shoulder. The story can be better because we have something genuine. We're not making a remake or a sequel. We're making an original story of ours using a lean team and some AI tools. And that can only get better over time. I can only see these tools becoming stronger and more powerful over time. So what I find more exciting, the utopic part of where this is all going, is that all of the people who are watching, I assume, from our audience at least, I'm not sure how it is with your audience, I know they're either individual artists or they're working in very small teams. Very rarely do we have people who are working in like 5,000-man companies. For these people, I say it's going to be incredibly exciting because if you have an idea, if you have a vision, you definitely can create it with a small budget in a shorter amount of time that you could have done before. And I think that democratization of technology is incredibly exciting.
And that's not only for films, games, even commercials. Now you can see smaller studios make commercial that it used to take a big studio with like 20, 30 man and a production team to do it. Games, the same thing. What was the name of the game that 33
Expedition 33? Did you hear about that one? No. So it's gotten so much interest from people, so many positive reviews, and the game was made with a core team of 33 people, I believe. They outsourced some of the work to more people, so in the credits you'll see more people. Core team was only 33 people, and the game
what is it? It's a first-person shooter?
It is, no, it's not a first-person shooter. I'm going to look this up really quickly, but Expedition 33, it was released recently, and it's got Claire Obscure Expedition 33. This is the one.
Oh, okay. I think I've seen that. Yeah.
So it's 10 out of 10 on Steam. I mean,
Wow.
yeah. And
you couldn't do that like a decade ago.
That's
You
right.
couldn't do that a decade ago.
you needed a much bigger budget. You needed a lot more people in your team. And now this is with 33 people. I imagine that's why they got Expedition 33 on the name. And it's a role-playing video game.
Okay.
Role-playing video game, French team. And what I find fascinating is that I believe the same game can be made with 15 people in 5 years' time.
Sure. I mean, that's why I kind of think like all the discussion that artists are making around AI is kind of backwards. Like people are going like, the big companies only want this so that they can fire all their artists and just make a movie with 3 people. But it's like, think that through for a second. Like if they can fire everybody and make a movie with 3 people, so can you.
Yes. Yeah.
So they have there's nothing unique about them, right? There's like, they are more at risk of going under.
Yes.
Like they are at threat of all of you guys who are the artists who can now individually do what they used to do with thousands of people. They should be shaking in their boots, not you.
That's actually very true because the real storytellers are the one who are part of the team. Now they can go out, make their own indie studio, and they can tell their own story. And now publishing is also easier. Previously, okay, I have to go to cinema. I need this budget for marketing. I was watching a video that was saying how hard is it to release a film in cinemas. You need to make sure you have to sell how many seats, you need to have at least how many screens. Now, just post it on YouTube for free. And if people like it, there are so many YouTubers that were posting on YouTube, and then later
I forgot the name of the two brothers.
brothers?
Yeah, two brothers. They had a YouTube channel for over 8 years, and then the YouTube channel was more funny videos. Then they went ahead and made a horror film.
Oh, smart. Oh, you're thinking of Ruckus?
Yes,
Ruckus films.
Those
Yeah,
are the
yeah.
one. Like there will be so many of them in the future. There will be so many of them because they have the idea, they have the vision. And I think going back to what you just said, if you have the idea, if you have the vision, you can appreciate all of these technology advancement. You can appreciate all of these tools because now you can bring your idea to life.
Yeah.
I think the biggest challenge is having an idea.
Yes.
Having a vision, because so many people for so long have been dependent on others for their vision. They were just following somebody else. Yeah. And now we're going into a future where you're rewarded for having an idea. And that idea, the more original it is and the more desirable it is, you can execute it and people will want to watch it. And we mentioned this in the last episode. I have to tell you because it is mind-blowing to us. Do you know about Corey Williams?
No.
Okay. He's a YouTuber and he made a channel called Just for Kids.
Okay.
It's a kids show. And he is a solo animator, 3D artist. He uses Unreal Engine. And a couple of years ago, he decided to learn Unreal Engine and use Unreal Engine to create a show called Silly Crocodile. So this is his workflow. He connected a controller, like an Xbox controller, to the character. So it's hooked like real time, as if it's a video game. So he's got like a couple of blueprints to set it up.
It's a puppetry.
Exactly. So he controls the silly crocodile character in a stylized world that he's built in Unreal. And then he has got his iPhone beside him with his computer. And the iPhone is recording his face, which controls the facial animation of the silly crocodile.
Okay.
So he's voicing it at the same time, animating it at the same time, and moving the crocodile at the same time. And he uploads that, I believe, what is a weekly upload. He's got over 800,000 subscribers. We've got 200,000. He's got 800,000. You have more, but... And he just got offered $5 million for the IP of Silly Crocodile.
Yeah. Silly Crocodile.
And he refused.
Really?
Yes. So all of this is mind-blowing. The fact that he refused it, but that's not the important bit. The important bit is that a lot of people come to us in the comment section or in Discord and they tell us, well, I'm learning 3D, I'm learning all of these tools, but how can I make money? Now, there are the traditional ways you're going to look for a job, but sometimes I tell people, try to explore and find out what it is that you actually want to talk about. Like, what is the story that you want to tell?
Yeah, right.
Have you ever thought about that? Do you think you can potentially come up with a story, turn it into a game, turn it into a film?
Yeah.
Could be a short film, could be a feature film, could be a documentary. You have to have that vision because people like Corey Williams are winning. They have the potential to make $5 million. The problem is that story is not very much public yet. I would love for people to hear about it because it changes your perspective on the fact that even if people are saying companies are doing massive layoffs, at the very same time, you have an individual artist who can make $5 million using the same tools that is available to everyone.
Well, that's it. Like everybody, like I feel like artists, when they got into 3D, like 10, 20 years ago, it was like they were like, I'm going to make a movie.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right? And then they got into a studio and they're like, no, you're not.
Yes.
Sit in that chair. They're going to hand you some stuff and you clean up the topology. You pass it to the next person. That's all you do. Right?
For 10 years.
And so you just learn to just like, this is what I do. This is all I can do. And I have to like set my expectations low because I just can't do that. I can't make a video game. I can't make a movie. I can only do this small thing because I don't have the money. I just can't employ all these people. And gradually over the years, the costs have been falling and falling and falling and falling. So people can make short films. They can make feature films using Blender on a laptop.
Yes.
And it's just AI is another tool, which is just like lowering the barrier even further. And it means that we kind of have to like train your brain back the other way and go like, no, remember that thing that you like pressed down into the corner of your brain? Like, no, you never touch that again. Like that spark that got you into it. You want to make Jurassic Park? Now you can.
But why did you forget about it, right?
Right. Well, exactly. And I really think a big part of it, and I totally understand because I feel it as well, is like you've learned all these other skills. You have like all of your own IP is the knowledge that you've developed over the last 20 years of your career. learning topology, learning shading, learning all of this technical, heavy stuff that just takes years to sift through. And that is now your value. You can go from company to company because you have this high value. Now you're being told, by the way, anybody now can make a movie and anybody can make a video game. And there's going to be all these young creators coming in there, disrupting the Steam marketplace. They're going to put movies on YouTube. How do you feel about that? Do you want to make a movie? Well, it's like, well, no, what about all the skill? That 20 years of crap is just going to be flushed down the toilet and I have to start from scratch. And that doesn't sound appealing. And
it doesn't. I get that too.
I get that. But I think you need to learn to let go. I think you need, especially at this stage, I think you need to learn how to let go and how to re-educate yourself to see, okay, now the trajectory of the next, I wouldn't even say 5 years because you would never know what happens in 5 years. Next year, next 3 years. What are the skills that I need the most? They might change again. They might change in the next decade, but at least I can use these skills now to tell the story that I want in any medium, whether it's a game or a film or an animation. And if people can really think about that and grasp to their ideas and really work hard to bring that idea to life, I think it can change their life, no matter what industry they're in.
I know, but we all have to basically learn how to be a good storyteller.
Yeah.
That's really, because I don't know.
Yeah. I'm not so great at it either, by the way. I'm not either.
Like nobody, because we've never developed these skills for precisely the reason I said. Like there was no point. We're never going to be a director. So what's the point developing your own story?
Yes.
So the people who are going to do really well in the new economy are the high agency people who can make a story and also believe that they can make the film or make the game using the tools that they have and the limited resources.
Do you think there is a path to teach yourself how to be a good storyteller?
Be really young and to be a storyteller?
Yeah. For a moment I was like, shit. That's like half of the viewers just left.
No. Oh, I was going to say, like, who could be really successful? Really young people. Because young people, they just don't know that you can't do that.
They don't have the limitation.
Until someone tells them.
That's right. They just like, they're like, oh, I just thought I'd start my own company. Oh, I thought I'd start my own YouTube channel. And then it just works out. And all the old people just like, but what about the risk? Why didn't you think about going to college instead? And it's like, I don't know. I just wanted to do it, you know?
You know what's funny? Sorry. I just have to say this. I've seen so many rich, wealthy people who you would meet, have conversations with, and realize they definitely have less IQ than me. But the reason why they made it in terms of money-wise, I'm not talking about anything else, is because they don't really think that much about all of the risks. They just go and try things. And sometimes me and Farhad have too much overthinking about how could this fail? Like we think about all the scenarios something could fail. And sometimes people who don't really think that much about anything, they just go and do the thing and get it done. And I think this might be slightly relatable to what you're saying about young people. When you're really young, you're naive. So you don't actually question a lot of things. You just go ahead and try and experiment. And as you said, when you're older, you care a lot more about your image and how you're spending your time.
You got family.
Exactly.
You got a mortgage. You got to make
more
payments.
Responsibilities.
Yeah, it's more responsibilities. The risks are higher. Yeah. But how to become a good storyteller? Don't know. Besides, read some books on storytelling. I mean, they're all out there. How to be a screenwriter. Yeah, I imagine all that will be very, very important.
I think watching good movies as well, like movies that inspire you, understanding why you like those movies.
Yeah,
what is in that story to...
That's definitely part of it.
Yeah, what is it in that film that is connecting with you emotionally? How is that story being told? And sometimes for me, that would be the older movies because they had incredible stories. They would make you sit down on a couch for 3 hours long and you wouldn't need to check your phone.
Yeah.
So I think that would also be a good idea.
Yeah.
You've been in the industry for a very long time now, and you've seen so much of the tools change, not just in Blender itself, but as we talked about AI as well. In 2025 now, and I'm not talking about SIGGRAPH specifically, what is it that is most exciting to you in the world of 3D? Something that you're looking forward to the most? If you're enjoying this conversation, we just wanted to remind you that we come back to you every single Tuesday with another episode of the Bad Decisions podcast.
It will be available on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Now back to the conversation.
Yeah. Gaussian splats.
Okay.
I gotta hear more about this.
Yeah, so it like for the longest time, the way to create, like, it was just meshes. That's all we had. It's just a
Right.
mesh, because it's the way that all the tools and even the hardware, the graphics cards have been built around optimizing that presentation on your screen,
Yes.
so that you can either render it or stream it real time. There hasn't really been another way. There's been volumes, but volumes aren't, they're not, there's something different. And then 2 SIGGRAPHs ago, someone came out with a paper called 3D Gaussian Splats. Now, acronym is 3DJS. Sometimes it's just called splats.
Yes.
But it is a different way of presenting the data, where basically every point is represented as a stretched or like shaped ellipse.
Yeah.
Kind of
Ellipsoid,
thing,
right?
ellipsoid shape,
yes.
kind of like a gradient. And it's just enabled a new way of rendering. So we've got meshes. That's just the way that it's been done up until now. And that has had limitations. Like, for example, volumetric video, right? So that's an old concept. It's not that, like, what if there was a video? I was even in Star Wars, right? What if there's a video,
like the holograms,
the
right?
hologram,
Yeah.
where you could not just locked to a specific point of view, but you could walk around somebody as they're talking, or be in a room and feel like they're there, and you can move and see somebody's eye line or whatnot. And it just, the technology to capture that has existed for a very long time, because we've got all the rigs. So people might be wondering, well, why didn't we already have this? Well, it's because how do you actually present that? You had to put it on a mesh.
Yes.
And meshes, so it meant that every frame in that video, 30 frames a second, was a new mesh that had to be generated with thousands of polys. And it just meant that it was just completely unstable. It was just jittery. All the meshes just jumping around, unless you went to like extremely high poly, but even then it's just all jittery. So Gaussian splats, and I've just learned this over the last couple of days, like the points are being represented, but each new frame is not a new point. It's just moving the other point to another area, which for one means it's much more stable. If you actually, there's a website, I think it's 4dv.ai.
Okay.
It's one of the only companies, I think, but they've developed like this volumetric video, and you can look at it in your browser, and you can just move around this person that's talking or interacting with a dog, and it's crazy. But so volumetric video and also an infinite frame rate, because if you record at 30 frames a second or something, it's like, well, now you just slow it down to however slow you want it, and you can see like a punch, and it's just slowed way down to however slow you want.
And we're not talking about any stop motion looking like
No, there's no
motion, right?
jitteriness,
Like
because
proper.
the points are just being like moved over in like smaller and smaller increments.
because that's what you had to do with either AI or optical flow
Exactly.
in
Well, it was
Premiere.
pixels.
Yes, exactly.
So they had the same problem, this jitteriness of the mesh. They had that, but with pixels, right?
Yes.
But now with 3DJS, it's not that at all. So it's just, you could slow it way down. So that is pretty game changing. And there were a few at the real-time live event last night. There was somebody who was also showing how you could like paint with 3DJS. So like you take models or like scans of like rocks,
right.
and then you've got this environment with grass and a fireplace. And he was showing like, you got a director who's like, yeah, paint some rocks over there. And it's like painting it in there. And these are like, that's like, we've been doing that in Unreal and Blender for
Yes.
ages, but it's just like, it's a Gaussian splat. So he was like painting out these shapes, because previously Gaussian splats weren't manipulatable.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're saying I'm trying to get this right. So there's a rock as a Gaussian splat, and as you paint, you're just planting these rocks
Exactly.
down.
Yeah. It's pretty primitive, but it's
Right.
just the idea
That's
of
really
like
cool, though.
adding Gaussian splats to other Gaussian splats that you can
Right.
move around.
Do they blend in well together when you're visualizing it?
No, they're just
Okay.
like points. But
Right, okay.
it's more so that like there is a lot of companies and a lot of research going into Gaussian splats, and it's
Yes.
just like we just learned about it 5 minutes ago, but it's
Right.
already like people are getting excited. So yeah, volumetric video is crazy. If you ever get a chance to experience headset with volumetric video, blew my mind. It's I think that plus the AI component. So we're talking about this before. So I went to this booth.
I think I know what you're going to talk about.
Yeah, I went to this booth, gracias.ai. Give them a shout out. And you put on this headset, and they've got examples of volumetric video.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing that you get demoed is a sexy lady like dancing on the stage. And you go like, whoa.
and your price in public.
I'm like, oh,
we have to try it tomorrow.
Yes.
What are you doing to me? But then also because it's the Meta Quest thing and it's got hand tracking, then your hands appear and she's like right there. And I go, what are you doing to me? What's going on? And you can there's other demos that you can cycle through.
Other demos.
Hold on. No, don't move on. What were you doing with your hands in that moment? I'm actually curious. What were your hands?
It was cheaper.
It wasn't interactive.
That's like the weirdest thing you could do if there's a girl dancing in front of you and your hands are just
T-posing.
Yeah.
T-pose.
So that's the crazy thing is that this was a 20-second video, right? It's not interactive. I can walk around. I could, whatever, but it's not interactive. Imagine if she was talking to me.
That would be insane.
And I could talk back or interact with it. I mean, obviously, it's going to be used for.
Yes.
But also.
That one example, of course.
Relationships, right?
Yes.
For now. ChatGPT and others have been. A lot of people have. You guys have heard about it. The AI girlfriends, AI boyfriends, but it's mostly been AI boyfriends.
Yeah.
A lot of girls because it's a, it's a connection.
Right?
Yeah, like we know guys are more visual, so guys haven't had as many virtual partners.
Yes, with ChatGPT.
With volumetric video, I think there is inevitably going to be a whole generation of guys that will have AI girlfriends that 100%. They have in their headset.
Yeah.
And
anime girlfriends, like anime waifus.
Stylized,
anything.
Wow.
So there's a couple of things I want to dissect here. First of all, incredibly exciting. We covered 3D
the AI girlfriend?
Well, all of them. Yeah. No, but seriously, I want to talk about where this could all go, right? The first thing is, we did cover 3D.js when it was first publicized.
It was 2 SIGGRAPH ago.
Not when it was first discovered or invented. That was apparently in the 1990s. Someone actually educated us on YouTube, told us the first Gaussian splats, the papers were in the year 1990s or 2000s, early 2000s. But the application for us to be able to bring it into 3D software and use them, it was very recent. Yeah. So we made a couple of videos about it. It exploded immediately. Clearly, everyone, just like yourself, was excited about where this technology could go.
Did you forget? The video that we posted, Andrew shared it. That's how I DM'd Andrew and got Andrew on the podcast the first time.
Oh, shit. Yes. Okay, you're right. Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
So it was exactly that time.
We went into the movies, if you remember. We took movies, turned it into Gaussian splat, put it into the viewer, and we started moving around the scene of a 2D movie, and then we started moving around it.
We did it for The Shining and Inglourious Bastards, where we did the drone shot.
That's right.
Yes. We did. Well, I don't think they used drones, probably helicopters at the time. So we redid that shot in Unreal Engine with a new angle, which was fucking nuts.
Yeah.
But what you're talking about now with volumetric video, first of all, it's so lightweight because today we were looking at Blender on the iPad and they're running a volumetric video on the Blender application.
Really?
So, yeah, they literally just press play and you could go around the video. So that's how light it is and how performant it is, which means you're going to have it become available on...
Wait, you had a Gaussian splat in Blender?
Yes.
And it was a video?
A video.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
I have not seen this.
Wow.
Come on, what
Bro,
were you doing?
check it out.
You have to check the Blender booth.
Check it out. Yeah.
Not the PC station, the iPad station. So they have the Blender app, which I think they're going to release it next year.
Yeah.
One of the template folders, so they had 4 different projects that
they had more than 4.
Yeah, 5.
And I think the reason why you haven't seen it, I believe I overheard the guy, someone was demoing that and they just recently added it. So maybe when you checked it out, they didn't have it yet.
Tomorrow we'll go together.
And it was Japanese or something. So they didn't make it themselves. Someone gave that file to them.
Okay, got it.
So you could press play on the iPad inside Blender and run it in real time. So the guys were doing, I think it was a sword fight or something.
Yeah.
Which is insane. That's how performant this is, which means everyone on mobile devices will be able to view that. And what I would imagine, again, when we used to watch these movies like Star Wars, seeing the hologram video calls was always incredibly cool. I mean, I cannot imagine for another 50 years we'll be calling people on our 2D flat displays. It has to become more immersive than that. Yeah. It's just that I feel like the way you capture them is still pretty traditional. I don't think everyone's going to get like 60 cameras in their houses. You need some sort of AI to come in and fill in all the missing detail. So you'll still be calling me on your iPhone or your Android device, and then it will turn you into a 3D version of you, which I can then display in my room. And it'll be done with a Gaussian splat, probably.
Yeah, definitely.
I think one of the most interesting thing about Gaussian splat is the entertainment industry. How it would change the way we view films. So imagine now the film is not going to be 2D anymore. The way you watch Mission Impossible, it would be different from the way I watch Mission Impossible. Maybe you want to watch the accident or the explosion from the side angle. I can see it from a different angle. So imagine if they capture the movies now with 4D Gaussians, the entire entertainment would change.
But isn't that going to disrupt the job of the directors? Like, he's like spending all that time to give you that composition, and then you're like, fuck that, I'm going to look at it from the other angle.
That's going to be crazy.
There's going to be a whole new wave of things that are going to be shot like that, but I think like traditional directors and filmmakers would still want to capture their own
frame. Keep the composition.
Yeah, because like you've seen the difference, right? When you set up your camera here versus just 2 degrees to the right or to the left, it completely changes the way the story is told. So that would be for a completely new wave
of medium of movies and probably games.
Well, that's it. Like I think, like, you know, you guys have heard like the first film that was shot. It was on a stationary camera.
Right. The trains?
No. I mean, like they were replicating what was entertainment at the time, which was theater.
Yeah.
So everything was just on a flat thing.
Right.
They had, it wasn't, and I read a book on like the history of like Hollywood film. Like Calibria was the first film where they moved the camera. And audiences were like, oh,
headache.
You can do that. You can move the camera, right? Because it was just like the concept of like where the viewer is sitting. We were just acting on the assumption that it was like theater, where you just look at the stage and that's what you have.
And it's static and it doesn't move.
And even the concept of a shot, which doesn't even make sense, like cutting from one action point, cut, and then showing something else, they didn't do for ages. Because they didn't think that viewers would know the continuity, that this shot led to that shot. So the first film that did it was like this fireman film where they had like a sequence of some fire brigade that was going to a building that was on fire. And then they cut, and then they showed a woman going, ah, in the window. And then they cut back down, and people were like, whoa. Right? But that, it sounds crazy, but that concept of a cut was just radical because it was used to theater.
Yes.
Right? Where you just like, how can you do that? Right? Yes. You have to, no, people don't know that led to this, so they're not going to get it, but they do. So I kind of think like maybe this whole concept of movies, like if 4D video really took off and it was interactive, I think it's much more like, I think more likely maybe that it would be, I don't know, because there's always like passive experiences and interactive experiences, but like why does anything need to be acted at all? Why isn't it just entirely interactive, right? Like the characters, you're in the room with them, and there's it's an experience, like it's more akin to a game like Last of Us or something, where you're walking around and you're going through something with like, that's I guess an active, I mean, I don't know, this is all like future highball. Like,
that could perfectly make sense. That's the emergence of game and movies then. But so the things are happening and you're walking in this story.
But so did you guys try out the interactive Netflix films?
I did.
Ever?
That you could make decisions?
You could make decisions.
Oh,
with the buttons.
Bandersnatch on.
That was the one I did. I didn't do the Black Mirror one.
I did the Black Mirror one.
I didn't actually enjoy it. I didn't like. I still rather, because when I'm watching something, I rather just relax. That's the whole reason why I'm watching it. I want to be passive, but when it comes to video games, that's when I want to be fully active. So you guys are saying there's going to be emerging between the two, essentially.
There should be at one point. there should be, I think, at one point. I mean, probably for the next generation, you are used to it now. That's probably because you have done it for so many years. But for someone who sees it for the first time, oh, this is the way it is.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And even when Andrew was talking about the first time they did like a shot cut, I know exactly what you mean. I've never heard of that, but know exactly what you mean, because when I first started creating content, it was on Instagram, and my friend was a content creator at the time. I've never made a single video, and we were making this skit, and we were supposed to open the door, and I was supposed to be on the other side of the door. So we recorded him opening the door, and I was just going to go and act the next shot. And he was like, no, bro. Now we're going to go get a close-up shot of the handle of the door for the fact that we're going to show that I opened it. I'm like, why do you need that? He's like, dude, go watch a film again and see how they do all of these different close-up shots to connect the storyline. And that's when I went and I realized, okay, all this time I've been watching films, I never actually paid attention to that. But when you're actually recording something, you realize you need all of these extra shots to make sense out of the story. So why I'm telling you this story is because when you're talking about the first time they ever made a cut, yet they never had that idea in their mind that they can, and people would actually understand what would happen. Yeah. So that's actually insane. You're right. But now everyone does, right? The psychology is already there. It's already been built in.
Yeah. So I think, narrative experiences, maybe, for sure, because people want to know stories. They want to see somebody went from this state to another state. They went through a trial and tribulation, and they got there. Would a 2D passive I guess it would. I'm just trying to think, would if you had to interact with everything, I guess that would probably get tiresome.
Yeah, that would probably
Not
be
everybody
a video game,
wants to play a video game.
Exactly.
Like, they just want to sit and just keep their head completely stationary and just go and just watch.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I want to talk about something different, entirely different, because a lot of the times people talk about successes on conversations, either their own or somebody else's. And we did that, for instance, about Corey Williams, right? But that's not where a lot of people can learn. Where I think a lot of people can learn is failures.
Okay.
And we've had a bunch of them. And I would never go back and take any of them out of my life because they made me who I am. And I'm grateful for every single one of them. What was the biggest creative or business failure you've ever had that taught you the most massive lesson in your life?
I don't know about the biggest, but one for sure is the video I did on NFTs.
Okay.
Oh, the donut NFTs.
Well, yeah, I did so I released, I made 13, they were called the Baker's Dozen, and it was a series of donuts, and it was raising money for Blender. And I made a video called You're Wrong About NFTs. And it was something that I'd been working on for probably 6 months, the script. And because it was such a heated, bad word, and still is in the art community. And I thought, and I still think, that people had it wrong. I think there was a completely, a misunderstanding of what this is and why it's actually pretty similar to a lot of things that we put value on. And it's a huge thing for artists. And I thought if I explained this in such a well thought out way and I had all the arguments, I thought that I could convince the community to come around to the point of view. And I've since learned that there are some things that are just so hard. People, I've just accepted that most people would just disagree with me on the NFT thing. And similarly, it's not worth trying to make a video about something controversial to change a lot of people's minds, because it's probably not going to change their mind.
But did you have anyone agreeing with you on the video?
Probably people that already agreed with me at the start. I think the thing is, I could also tell from the comments, most people didn't watch the video. Most people saw the title. Most people saw the title and then they watched maybe 15 seconds and then they just went and like, how can you such and such about this when it does this? And it's like that point was literally in the video you didn't watch.
What do you think that was a failure though on your part?
Well, it was a failure in the sense that I hoped that I could turn the ship, and it was a failure, just a huge waste of time. Huge waste of time.
Yeah, 6 months is.
I mean, it wasn't like full. I was, working on a bunch of stuff, but like just so much effort went into this thing that ultimately didn't change anybody's mind and didn't really have any effect.
But don't you think, like we had this with other topics that we talk about, sometimes it goes controversial. What we found out is that a lot of people who disagree with you or hate on that topic would go and comment. People who usually agree with you, they watch the video and are like, yeah, he's right, or he changed my mind. They won't even bother commenting. So
maybe you're judging it based on the amount that was raised, because you were raising for Blender, right, on that same video?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you judging it based on the amount that was raised, or the views, or the comments? I'm just trying to.
Well, the other thing, Oh, yeah. So I completely forgot I even did that. I also released a big NFT called 17,000 something steps, which was I asked people to send me their donut that they had made, and we're going to make a mural of a giant donut, and then we're going to auction it off and sell it for Blender. And that, by the way, there was more than 17,000 because we had to cull the people that were.
Oh my God.
It was that many blend files. Because I asked for their blend file, not for their render. That was a huge mistake.
Oh my God. Okay, that is a failure. That's a failure right there.
That's a lot of work.
So I had like a developer who made a special plugin which we could point to a folder and it would open up the file, bring it into Blender, cancel out all the other shit that I told them to not put in the file. Do not send me your plate and your sprinkles and everything.
Oh my God.
Just the donut, I said. And half the people just went, here's your donut. And then they forgot they had the plate and the cup and everything. So they had all this other crap. So it removed all of that and then adjusted the light, zeroed in on it because like all different scales. So they had to zero the scale. And then I think it rendered successfully like 99% of them. And then there was like, I don't know. What would that be? Like 100, 170. I think it was about 300 that had to be manually like click on the next file, chuck this, hit save, chuck. But then anyway, then we rendered it and then we made it, and then I used this archaic piece of software that could make a mural. So you give it an input image and then it would use each individual image as a pixel in that. You've seen them before, right?
Of course, yes.
But all the software that exists for creating murals is crap. It's horrible. And this is the only one that actually used and didn't change each individual tile. Right. They all want to like put an overlay of the source on top.
Which would ruin it, yes.
It would ruin it. It'd make it look tacky and crap. There was only one that did it and it was just like old, built in the 90s or something. So I finally got it and built it. And then we built a website so that you could search for your name and then find it in the donut database.
Right.
It's still there. Just go to andrewprice.art. You can click on Baker's the First Steps project. And then it's also this giant mural that you can zoom in on and go back out. So
that's actually really
cool.
cool.
Website, everything. And then I auctioned it off, made zero money.
What?
Because nobody could meet the bid. Because I set the bid at like 10 ETH or something like that.
Right.
Wow.
And I realized the problem was that all of the people who were so ecstatic about the project nobody could afford $30,000 to bid on this thing. So the art collectors were completely separate to the Blender community who were making it. So even though there was so many people involved and interested and it was maybe a novel concept, it was just... That was a huge failure. That was a huge waste of time, and it's sitting in my my store, and no one has bought it.
Can I ask you one question then?
Yeah.
What is the learning lesson here?
The learning lesson was timing. At the peak of NFTs, that would have been amazing, and it probably would have maybe sold for a lot of money, but it did not, and because it took so long to make, 6 months or whatever, that it had gone through this cycle and it was now in a state of everyone hated it. some people were like trying to take back their donut
Oh,
because they originally had like submitted it and said like, yes, I want to be part of this project. Because like NFTs were just like, it's a thing. What?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey, people are making money. And then like all these YouTubers made all these videos about how NFTs are destroying the planet. They're not.
They're-
All these
Yeah.
problems. And then NFTs got such a bad name that by the time I finished it, nobody wanted to bid on it. And then people who had even submitted to it,
They wanted their donuts back.
They
Take a
secretly
piece
were
off
like,
the
oh my
mural.
God.
Take it back.
They're like, I don't want my name associated with an NFT.
That is a massive headache.
Honestly, I still think it was a good technology, though.
Yeah.
If it
Is
worked,
it
yeah.
the technology itself, the underlying technology, I think is useful.
It's
And
very cool.
probably we are going to use it in the future.
Yeah.
I just think the community
people
around
that
the people
used
and-
it, yes.
and the-
that was something I didn't do enough on the video was I had to open. That's the other thing I learned. If you're going to make a controversial video, the first 15 seconds should be answering that thing that they immediately think when they think that video is, how can you say that? What about this? I have to open with, how can you defend something when there is scammers, when there are people
Yes.
stealing money, when they are ripping off people? How can you possibly defend a piece of technology like that? That's how the video should have
So
started.
timing and bad hook.
Yeah, bad hook. Exactly.
Timing and bad hook.
I needed something to address their concern at the start of the video, and I didn't do that until like way later.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. And I think,
Because that is the worst part about NFTs was just the opportunists.
yes, that's the biggest problem.
It was horrible.
And I think the mindset that you get into something, if the mindset that you get into something is that, oh, I'm going to buy this for, I don't know, 0.1 ETH and I want to sell it for 10, that's the only way that I'm going to be happy, then you're going to have a lot of problem because not everybody made money on NFT. A lot of people lost money.
Yeah.
And I think it made a bad rep because people lost money on it.
Yeah.
It's not a technology itself. The technology itself was good. But
The speculative investing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
I think it helped a lot of
That's
artists,
definitely-
by the way, because we
Oh, it did.
also made money with NFTs, not by buying and selling them, but because there were so much demand for 3D artists. All of these different
That's
projects
true.
suddenly needed all
That's
of
true.
us.
Yeah.
And so
And all those people lost money.
Exactly. But 3D artists, a lot of people got into Blender and Unreal and all these different softwares
That's
during
true.
that time because
That's
there
true.
was a massive demand, which for me, again, for a lot of artists, it was a win-win. Yes, you didn't end up making millions of dollars like the top 1% who were selling the biggest projects, but you still started a career and you made a good amount of money that wouldn't be otherwise possible.
Or at least you learned something.
And
If
you learned a new
3D
skill.
during the
Yes.
era. You use your 3D skills in other areas
Yeah.
after the NFT era.
Yeah.
One thing I want to talk about, and I think it's related to the AI topic that me and Faraz talk with each other a lot, is that even with the AI boom, I think people crave human connections, networking, going to events. So even AI can do every single thing. You still want to go to events that people are there, events like SIGGRAPH. I remember the last time we talked, you were in Australia and you were about to move to US. How does this shift of moving places, and now you moved from LA to Texas, change the way you connect with people and you network?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So that I did learn something from the LA move, because it's true that the few things can be as important as who you associate yourself with, right? So if you want to be an entrepreneur in the tech space, you should be in Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
You should be there. It's gonna, like, the rent is gonna be absorbent, but if you're in your 20s and like you want to do that, few things would be as surefire, as most likely to work as being in Silicon Valley.
So
being
true.
there.
So true.
But if you're planning to be remote, it's not going to, like, if you can't be in Silicon Valley and then work from your computer. You would have to be going to events, networking, and all this kind of thing. I thought that by being in Los Angeles, that I would be, like, everyone around me would be in film and it would just be interesting and I would be learning a lot. The problem with LA is just the traffic is so bad. Nobody wants to leave their house. Like, it's so much work to get in your car and go somewhere, because like a 20-minute drive feels like 50, and it's just exhausting. And so even myself, I didn't want to go anywhere because it was just, so I felt kind of imprisoned in where the nearest big road was that I couldn't cross, because like, so you just kind of naturally just kind of stay at
Even
home.
for you who just moved.
Who I moved
Let alone for people who've been there for
network.
like 10, 15 years.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I did meet people that were like in the industry, like screenwriters, and it's true, like all your neighbors work in film and everything, but like, you know, they're grips and, you know, assistants and there's, you know, but it wasn't what I expected. What I did find though was just I could go to conferences, and conferences is where, like going to VidCon and like these other ones, where actually people come together for a week and they meet face to face and they talk, and you're all in a hotel nearby, and so you just spend really like focused amounts of time in conversation. That was good. So that's why I'm still in the US, because
I see.
I mean, for one, I still got a visa, so I can stay there. But it's because I can be anywhere in the US and I can go to a conference and it's easy. But from Australia, the time zone is so bad. I could only do it like once a year. If I did like 2 trips to America in the year, I was just exhausted. And because it's like, it takes you like over a week to adjust to the time zone when you get there. And then over a week when you get back, and you still feel fuzzy for like a couple of weeks after. So it's like basically a month per conference that you go where you're just like not productive. Whereas if you're in the US, you can just fly over, fly back. So
100%. I mean, this is the same case for us. That's why we are in Vancouver now in preparation for SIGGRAPH. So we came earlier and we're going to leave a little bit later because we're going to go back to Dubai. But being in Dubai has been incredible because there's a lot of people coming to Dubai. So for us, for instance, for the podcast has been a great opportunity because there's going to be a lot of conferences there. They're supporting that. And therefore we can always go to these conferences and meet people and have our podcasts. However, there's still nothing like the US when it comes to the biggest and best conferences still to this day.
That's right.
So for us, we totally understand the move, but how are you finding not just these events, but the concept of immigration, just being around these people? Has it impacted your work in any way as well since you moved?
I mean, like the conferences for sure. That's why I still go to them. Like the cost of like, I just realized I'm spending like over $3,000 on my hotel.
Right.
Because I was like at the Hyatt. You know how like they always show you the price per night?
Yes.
And it's like, you know, it's $300. And you just like, you round down and you're like, yeah, 300. Yeah, that's nothing. Yeah. And then like you realize you're staying for 7 days. And then there's the taxes. And, and then I'm like looking at the statement. I was like, wait, $3,300. I was like, oh, that's a lot of money. But
yeah, fair enough.
It's Canadian dollars. Doesn't really matter. But no. But so it is a lot of money, but it's kind of, I see it as like the fuel that like inspires you and directs where you go for the next few months when you're at home working by yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Farhad, I have one last question I want to ask you because I know we're almost short on time here. And this question is relevant to me and Farhad personally. And I know it slowly is going to be the case for a lot of people, especially with AI coming around. You're not just a creative who's working in the world of arts. You also have your business, right? So you have to learn new things in your creative side, but you also have to learn business skills and you have to manage your businesses. Businesses, right? I'm assuming there's multiple, right? There's the YouTube side of things, but you got Polygon as well. So there's more as well, or is it?
Well, yeah, Polygon and then Polydex as this new piece of software we're making.
Perfect.
And
what is that about?
So that is a home for your assets, basically.
Right.
Everyone's got a folder on their computer full of models and textures that they got from CG Trader and Megascans. And then when you need to find that one rock or the plant,
right,
you got to sift through folders. Where is it? You can't visualize it. You don't know what file it is. So it basically, you point to the folder and all we do is read the contents, but we visualize it on the screen. So it's got thumbnails generated. It's got the names. It like groups PBR texture maps together.
Right.
And you can see everything. And then one click, import that into whatever software you want to use.
That's actually super helpful.
Yeah.
When is it coming out? Or is it out?
So the beta is out.
Right.
It's Polydex. It only works with Blender currently, but we're adding Unreal Engine and everything else. So yeah, the beta is out. Polydex.
Okay. We have to check that one out. We have to check that one out.
For sure.
So I guess the question I wanted to ask is, how are you managing learning and experimenting on your creative side as an artist and learning and managing the businesses, because those are two completely different worlds. They might have some interconnections, but they're still requiring different parts of your brain to activate. How are you spending time balancing that out?
It's exhausting. Yeah. It's why people say like, yeah, running a business is the most stressful thing you can do. And it is a completely different skill set. But I still think like the overarching thing that it's just like you have to put yourself in the shoes of your customer or your user or your viewer on YouTube. Like what makes a good YouTube video or a tutorial on YouTube from that context? It's like, well, you have to know what a beginner is thinking and what they're going to have a problem with, and then answer that problem in the video. And then the timing of that, how fast you get to it. And all of that is really a problem that needs to be solved. And it's exact same thing with business. The problems you get into is when you create a solution for a problem that doesn't exist. Like, here's this thing, guys, go for it, right? And then people just go like, I don't care about that.
Didn't need that.
Don't need that. I actually wanted this other thing. Why'd you make that? You know? And you spent all this money and, you know, and so that's where a lot of people get into problems. But that's kind of the overarching thing that kind of drives both of them. But to scale anything, you need lots of people. So people management and finding and hiring the right people becomes like your biggest concern. You have to find good people or it just doesn't work. Yeah. People that that actually really give a shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
dude, it's so true. It's
more
so true.
more than just the money. More than just the money.
Yeah.
That's the biggest problem. The fact that they actually do care about the work that they're doing with you.
Yeah.
It's so damn difficult.
Yeah. There's a good book. It's called, I think it's called Talent by Tyler Cohen and another author. And it just talks about this problem of hiring. And it kind of like breaks it down. Like the way to find out who to hire is find out what they do in their spare time. That's really what you should be figuring out. Because somebody...
So you like sneak up on them and like, what are you doing? Behind the window, Andrew Price is just hiding, peeping through the window.
But like
Be careful if you're working with Andrew.
Yeah. But it's like, that's kind of because like...
Did you realize he didn't say no? I'm still waiting for you to say I was wrong.
Yeah. Well, what I get up to in my own time is up to me. But because like somebody who is like you think about like the most passionate people you know that are like really into, I don't know, cinema 4D or video editing or something, they're obsessed with it. They're obsessed. And that's all they can think about is that. And they want to get better at it. So on their weekends, what are they doing? They're learning, they're growing, they're on forums, they're staying up to date, they're learning this side skill. They're just like attached to this thing and they want to get really, really good at it. Those are the people that every company wants to hire. Right? So you have to
So
find
good.
those people.
That is such a
But
good
then how do
point.
you find somebody?
You just have to check out their YouTube search and history. Like I realize that's so important because at least I'll talk about myself. If you open up my YouTube homepage, aside from the fact that my mom has access to it and she watches some random videos and they pop up there too. But aside from that, you'll find a lot of tutorials all the time. Updates about 3D softwares. So you would know that I search for these things. So if you could take a peek at the person you're hiring next.
That's true.
And just check out their YouTube homepage.
Imagine the interview.
You
open your
always,
YouTube homepage.
On my YouTube homepage, there's always at least 1 or 2 tutorials or updates about one of the 3D softwares. And it's not just unique to Epic Games Unreal Engine. There are Blender things that are there. There are Houdini videos that are there. I just care about what's happening in the industry. So going back to your point though, I mean, this is very specific. I never really thought about it that way. It's such a good
so
way
true.
to measure how much of an A player someone is going to be in your company.
And how much the guy is willing to improve. Because you might be hiring someone and they are at this point. you don't want them to stay at that point for the next 2 years. You want them to grow. You want them to learn. You want them to pick up new things, because now with all these new tools, they can learn something new that you might not know and that might help your business, because you're not hiring 10 people to tell every single one of them what to do. You are hoping that one of them, hey, Andrew, this is a new thing we might need to try. Hey, Andrew, I learned this new thing that might help our business. The same thing for us. And that's why Steve Jobs said, you hire A players, you give them a vision, they will figure it out how to do it. You don't have to manage them.
And then they self-police as well, because they hate working with B players. So they will never let any B player in their group. They will automatically tell you who's a B player. And that way you can curate a team of really successful engineers, designers, whatever it is.
That's why the first people you hire are the most important.
Yeah,
absolutely.
What do you look for when you hire someone?
Yeah, I mean, that is now like the thing that we do. So the interview is a lot of questions to try to get to that truth. What do you do in your spare time? Because if you ask people, what do you do in your spare time? What do they say?
Yeah.
They say what they think you want to
know about their hobbies outside of this profession.
Exactly.
Right.
So that, well, no. It's more so it's like they're gonna lie. They're gonna pretend like, yeah, I'm watching like courses on LinkedIn and I'm on YouTube and I'm upskilling on this. And it's like everybody knows that they need to appear in a certain way. So the job hiring process, that's why people find it so frustrating applying for jobs, but also businesses find it frustrating hiring for jobs, because it's an arms race.
Yeah, everyone's stressed in that meeting now that you think about it.
Because everybody is like, he's trying to come up with a question to get to the truth of this. This person knows that they are trying to get to that truth, and so they are trying to appear in a way like everyone knows they need to appear like diligent, right, like organized. So they know that they have to come there with notes. They have to come there with they have to be on time. They have to be punctual. They have to have, and so they also Google what questions are they going to ask me on this thing, right? And then the really bad companies also Google what questions should I ask.
Oh my God!
They come there with the same things. But like everyone knows that. So it really is, that's why the evolution of hiring, the questions change over time. And it's also why Google has these like just obscure questions. Like I had a friend who, when he got interviewed by Google, it was for like a fairly, like he was like a managerial kind of like product head of something, of like a group or something. But one of the questions like they asked him was, if you had a teleporter that could teleport anyone in the world to any location, but it was yours and it was in one location, what would you charge for somebody to use it?
Ooh. Is there a right answer for this?
Well, the wrong answer is to just to rush like and go, I don't know, $100, like 1,000, or to just give an answer without thinking through. But like
they want you to analyze it and give your reasoning behind it.
They want to know how much you consider other industries, and you're thinking about the cost, the friction as it relates to airline travel and the time saving, but it's only in one location, right? So people would have to fly there or maybe be there. So like what, and just thinking through all this just kind of shows.
Exactly like what you would see GPT do when it's doing the thinking.
Exactly.
Right? They want to see that.
Exactly.
And if it's two sentences, they're like, no, this guy's not good. But you see GPT go through, like, holy shit, this is good. This is good reasoning. I get the point now. Okay.
So it kind of would show you like how much you know about the world and the economies and maybe politics and technology. And so it's more so it's a question of like, like kind of getting to the root of how much you consider and think about other things outside of your specific industry. Right. But that's why Google has these like crazy questions that don't seem to make any sense because it's, they're trying to get to the heart of the matter, something that you can't fake. Like how can you prepare?
You
cannot. They're trying to think about questions you cannot prepare for.
I actually think that's a pretty decent question. Now that you told me the reasoning behind it, I think it's good, but it doesn't necessarily define if someone's an A player, because that guy could have great reasoning and come in and not have great communication with anybody in the team.
That's why they have, I think, 3 rounds of interviews. Probably they'll try to
more than that. It's like, it could be
3.
like a month of interviews, just different.
There you go. Well, I don't think that's something you guys would do, like a month of interviews. So that would be something Google would do. Google, because of the size and scale of Google. Course. But I think that's pretty interesting. Now, we started our 3D journey with the Blender Guru donut tutorials. And I know that education is incredibly important to you. So as our last question for everybody watching and listening who wants to get into this world, is there anything educational that you're working on currently that people should be looking forward to?
My course.
Yes.
Ding, ding, ding. Thank you for bringing that
Of
up.
course, no problem.
Yeah.
You're going to pay me afterwards.
Yeah, that's
right?
right. Thank you for the money. Yeah. Yeah, so like I
Can you bring the ATM machine?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think people have been asking for, they said they finished the donut and now what do I do?
Mhm.
And I've been referring them like, hey, just kind of like go for it. You're like, now continue on, find YouTube videos that you're interested in. But you hit that problem of like, now I watch this next video and I'm in over my head because it's like it's advanced or I don't have the context for this.
Right.
So I started to talk to people, beginners, and find out what their problems are. And they just told me they need a curriculum. They need to know the context of everything. So for the last 2 years, I've been focused on this idea of like, could you really teach the 3D topic well so that somebody has a perspective on like, what does modeling do, but also the different approaches to modeling. You got curves, you got block, you got bevels, you've got sub D, you've got sculpting, you've got proceduralism, and then you got texturing, the different types of texturing. You got UV texturing, you got PBR textures, you've got procedural textures, and then masking. But what's in all those elements, you can like look that up online and you can find that list, but like, how do they relate to one another? So I've been like kind of obsessed with that problem. And so I'm coming out with a course at the end of this year.
Nice.
So it's going to be released at the end of the year.
Yep, for 5.0 release. So that's like end of November.
So super up to date.
Yes.
When it's released.
And then what is the target audience for your course?
So it will be people that finish the donut.
So they have to do the donuts and then they come to the course.
So it's
That's
not
the idea.
absolute beginners.
That's right. Well, it's from the donut. So the donut is the first step in the door. And then
that's cool.
Then go to the paid course.
Go ahead.
Are we getting a new donut tutorial or they
Of
have
course.
to? Oh,
Yeah,
so we
yeah,
are
yeah.
getting a new donut tutorial for
Of course.
5.0.
That's right.
And then the course will come.
Correct.
This is great. You know why?
I know why, but do you remember the last time we had the podcast, the Blender 4 was released?
Yeah.
And then he was recording the donut tutorial.
Yeah.
Remember we had donuts and we ate the donut
That's right,
and we
yeah,
couldn't
yeah.
give it to you?
Yeah.
Ricardo, can we have the donuts again?
Oh, look at this.
We couldn't have
Amazing.
donuts tutorial.
We felt
and
bad
this
for
time-
you.
Oh,
Yes, because last time
wow.
we couldn't have it. So we said,
That's
I
crazy.
remember Andrew's face when we were eating the donuts alone.
Wow.
We felt kind of bad.
yeah, we ate it last time. We did. And we usually, this is the last time we had the donut. That was our last time that we had donut.
I haven't had donuts
We
ever
haven't had
since.
donuts. Yes.
It's real.
Okay, I want one too.
Yes.
We're gonna do it.
take
Yes.
one.
Go
Yes.
for
And as I take, I'm gonna take the chocolate because I know you want it.
You're going to take it.
That's so cold.
Oh, this is meaty. It's like a meaty
Wow.
donut. And can I
what
just
is
say
that one?
one thing before we have the donut? I actually think what you're doing is genius because for people who do not know your teaching style, they can come through the donut tutorial, understand everything about you and how you teach. And if they really like it, then they can go ahead and get into the course because they already are familiar with how you speak, how you
Teach.
could take complex topics and make them consumable. So I think it's pretty genius, man. I'm looking
Thank you.
forward to it.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Cheers.
Let's have a
Cheers.
donut
Cheers. Let's have a donut.
because of the donut educational program that is coming out.
Oh, this one is inside as well.
Whoa.
Oh, that's the wabe?
yeah.
Mm.
I got cream.
Oh, that's good.
What do you
Nice. I just standard.
Yeah.
have? You guys are basic.
Yeah.
This is the best.
This is
I
really
did the
good.
best one.
Okay. I only had 2 donuts in the past 2 years. Both of them for the podcast with Andrew Price.
And we'll keep the next one for the next podcast.
No, let's see. What is he going to create in his course? I hope it's not a car because we can't get your car in here.
that was too
Let's
much,
just
man.
stick to food items so we can bring that in the next podcast.
Okay. All right. So I think it's gonna be pretty weird for people to watch us eat the whole donut.
So we'll end there.
Yeah, well, we're gonna end it right now and enjoy the donut. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening. Thank you once again for coming on the podcast. When you do release the donut tutorial and the educational program, we're gonna let you guys all know. So if you're interested, you can check it out. And we'll see you guys on the next episode. Until then, ciao.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for watching and listening to another episode of the Bad Decisions podcast.
Our goal is to bring this conversation in front of millions of people.
And therefore, we have one little request from you. Because if this conversation helped you, then you can help other people hear it too.
The way you can help is by leaving a 5-star review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and follow us on Spotify and YouTube.
That's it. We'll see you guys next week on Tuesday.
Thank you.